I want to know what my soul purpose is. I want to know why I'm here. I want to know what it is I'm supposed to do on the planet. And this deep healing, generational healing, ancestral healing, experiences from this life right now are all coming up to be revealed, to be reviewed, to be healed and released, so that people can heighten their vibrations, so that they're able to hear, to see, to align to what is there already in their future.
Hi, everyone. I am so glad to have you guys join me today. And I am so excited to have Pamela Downes with me today. And Pamela is a trance channel. She's a spiritual guide,
Mm-hmm.
and the founder of Spirit Calling.
Yeah.
And today we are going to talk about spiritual awakening, soul purpose, vibrational energy, and energy healing, and psychic abilities. So I want to give all of you guys just kind of a heads up that this is the idea of doing this particular interview with Pamela is because she's so versed in so many different areas. I wanted to touch on each one of these subjects because I think that they're all extremely important for our spiritual growth and our evolution at this particular time. So, Pamela and I are not going to do a deep dive in each one of these particular topics, but we're going to introduce them to you guys so that if you haven't heard it before or you're not really familiar, I'm hoping that this will create more of an interest and open a door for you guys to do a deeper dive. And hopefully you'll connect with Pamela and do a deeper dive with her. That's the game plan. So, Pamela, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here too, Lisa. Thank you for having me. That's so well said. Because what I'm experiencing now are so many people who are having rapid awakenings,
Yeah.
and they're in all those different buckets. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody's experiencing something different right now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's I think so important to have these conversations so that people feel connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so many people are, this is new for them. They don't really
Mhm.
know what's happening. They're just finding themselves kind of spinning.
Yes.
And so let's dive in.
Okay. Let's do this thing.
Let's get this ball rolling. Um, so Pamela, first of all, let's talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
So give us a little bit of background and what you do, because you have your own beautiful gifts as well.
Yeah. So I'm just like everybody else. I was just reading an article that was put out about me on Awakening magazine. And it's like I was and am experiencing my spiritual awakening journey just like everybody else. I am a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a business owner. I'm all the things that we all experience in our three-dimensional reality. I just started waking up, and I started having questions, and I started wanting answers, and I wasn't liking the answers that I was getting. And so I was diving into spaces that were unknown and allowing myself to discover and discern and create my own truths, my own truths. And I always say that, once that little crack of that veil opens up, which is what a lot of people are experiencing now as we have these grand shifts, there's a new reality. There's a new version of yourself. There's a new version of your world. There's new truths. There are things there that you want to dive in, and you can never turn back once you see them. And you want
Mhm.
more and more and more and more and more, right? That's that discovery process. And that's your spiritual awakening journey. Um, I went through mine like slowly, but if I look back at it, I really had some major pivotal moments that like blew me open in a way that made me say, "Ooh, what was that? I got to keep doing this thing. I got to show courage. I got to do the things. I got to listen to what I'm hearing. I got to follow the knowings and the nudges and all the things that are you expressing that conviction to the universe that you want more. You want more. And it doesn't always, it's not always a positive experience. And if you don't learn through that experience, it's always a learning experience, but you have to understand what was it that I did? How did I show up? Oh, you do better the next time, or I should have listened. because I always benefit when I listen. It's just this do of all these things happening, and learning, expanding, growing, and showing up, living your spirit first.
Yeah.
There's a shift that happens. We are not walking blindly, one foot in front of the other on autopilot. You're using different tools, and you're listening to that inner guidance. You have to start it, right? It
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 So, when you're talking about this journey and you're talking about your spiritual awakening, that's a common term, but a lot of
Hmm.
people don't really know what that means. What is your
Hmm.
definition of spiritual awakening?
Yeah. It's kind of breaking out of that norm and that construct that you're born into, that you do simply because you have been born to follow what others say, follow ways of being that were created for you and your family, traditions, religions, all of the things. And it's kind of what I said before, is you're discovering new truths, and you're using your discernment to realize what it is that you believe in, what it is that you and how you want to live your life. And you start to break away from that web of what you were into who you are. It's a remembering of who you are. And we're created to be small. We're created to just think about here and now, and what's on the calendar, what are the holidays, what are the celebrations, what are the situations, what are the milestones, like all it's all created for us. And when we start to break out of that and think that there's something more, like, do I resonate with my relationships? Do I resonate with my religion? Do I resonate with my work? Do I resonate with my marriage, my husband, my partnership? All of it, it starts coming up to be reviewed, to be discussed. And then when you start to have and use those tools of how does it feel with me? How does it resonate with me? Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? And you start to, through your spiritual awakening, honor yourself and hold yourself in high regards in like a different way than you ever did before. And when you start expressing that muscle, when you start using it and listening and making the decisions and watching your life change, then you do more of that, and you do more of that. And it feeds a funnel of higher and better and more understanding. And then you're expanding your awareness, and you're expanding yourself.
Mm.
It's interesting. Yeah, you're right. It is a very widely used term, spiritual awakening, because no one really knows how to label it in like a mass way that's easy for everyone to understand. But it is. It's you doing you in a way that you never did it before.
Yeah, and I love the way that you explained it, because some people, okay, well, what's a spiritual awakening? Does it mean that I'm supposed to see the angels? Are the
Right.
angels going to come in? Am I going to
Right.
start talking, in different languages?
Right.
What is it? Because when we think about spiritual, we think about that beyond.
Hmm.
But for how you explained it, I'm so in alignment with what you're explaining,
Yeah.
because it's exactly what you said. It may not be that we have to have this huge crisis in our life. It may
Right.
not be that we have this miraculous vision. It may just simply be that we need to start recognizing, wait a minute, I'm changing. I don't believe the same way I used to anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Something's shifting.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
believe it's
So
different for everyone. We're
yeah,
all
I do
on our
too.
own path, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was religion coming up to be reviewed. I was saying, like, I don't understand. I know I was raised in a specific religion, and I was all wrapped up in it, generational, right? And I went to school, and I was baptizing my children. But then this understanding, this construct of God just wasn't resonating with me, of judgment, of fear, of all of those things. And I was like, God is love. If God is love, then judgment doesn't work there. Like, that's the beginning of the breakdown. And I started making decisions to do what felt right for me. So even if my kids, I couldn't bring them up in something I didn't believe in, because that's the resonating. That's that doesn't feel good. It feels bad. And that's that measure and that dial inside of yourself. And if you're constantly using that dial, you're always going to win. You're going to learn lessons, but they're going to benefit you, and they're going to expand you further. And then one of the pivotal things, Lisa, was, my dad suffered with alcoholism, and we had a difficult upbringing with him. Um, and I watched alcohol take my father's life. I watched him die before me, and I remember thinking it was one of those pivotal aha moments, like, here's his body, where did he go? Here's his body, where did he go? Where did he go? you know and that was all, these were all happening at the same time. This stew of like creating a new reality was brewing.
Mhm.
And when I saw that happen, it struck me, it hit me. And then I had an opportunity to go see a psychic medium, because the universe tees up things for you exactly when you need it, right at the perfect time. And at the time, I didn't have $75 to splurge on a psychic medium. Like, we were going through the recession. My marriage was breaking down. My life was changing and shifting. I was having what I call my knockdown. The recession happened. We lost everything. And this ticket that was paid for, an afternoon free of not watching the kids. I didn't contrive. I didn't have to figure anything out. I was placed in front of the psychic medium very easily, effortlessly, which is how it starts to work when you start to listen to the nudges and the pulls. And this man, his name was Rich Branconi, came right up to me and he said, "Your father's here. He wants you to know how creative and talented you are." Now, I was a musician and an artist, and that's what I was good at in the world. And it was just like one of those moments of, oh my gosh, this is so unique and specific to my relationship with my father, that I know. He said he showed up for you in a way that he wished he could have been better, but he couldn't. And he wants you to forgive him. And I mean, it was another moment of, there's life after this physical reality, and I cannot deny it. And then that started that, like, I wanted the buffet of all things. I wanted to learn, to read, to experience, to talk, to do everything new. I wanted to find out more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, it's because my questioning began when my brother died.
Mm.
And again, I was 29 when he passed away, and again, it
Oh,
led to my marriage breaking up and moving to a different part of the world, starting a whole new job, new
yeah.
career, all of that stuff, and finding myself. And then it just took me, that was the snowball, that took me to
Yeah.
where I am. But I always find it so fascinating that death can be so giving
Mm.
in ways, that
Yeah.
in the amongst of our grief, by being able to also open up new doors for us to see things just a little bit differently.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you think that a spiritual awakening can be created, or do you think that we just kind of evolve into it?
I feel like it's both. I feel like there can be a monumental experience, like a near death experience, or like my knockdown, that can just shift you, or a global event, like COVID, or, one of those things that shifts you, expands you, shows you not that you're small, but how big the universe is, how big everything is, and your space in it. That's an expansive moment. That's a vibrational shift. That's a spiritual awakening. But I also believe that it can be a combination of both, but it could also be that slow roll of learning, of awakening, of remembering. So it's all, I guess it's all up for grabs.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so too. I think that, like, if, whatever it is, and it may be so casual that we don't even recognize that,
Yeah.
the universe is working in our favor when we're having lunch with a friend
Yeah.
and something comes up that creates our curiosity.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I think I want to know more about it. I think I want
Hmm.
to see things just a little differently. And so
Hmm.
how it works. Yeah. So when you mentioned a few of the common signs of our
Yeah.
awakening, can you
Hmm.
list more where people can have a bigger variety of
Oh,
understanding?
yeah,
They can look at themselves.
for sure. It's something I hear continually with my community members, with the people that I do work with. You start to not resonate with commonality. Like, you don't want to just go with the flow. You don't want to stand by the water cooler and gossip. You don't want to do things that are not meaningful. You want intentionality more. and it goes and it threads its way through all the things of your life. You might want to um, spend more time thinking about what you're consuming. Am I eating higher vibrational foods? Is this serving my body? Is this serving my energy? Is it like you just start to have more care for everything that you do? Um, I know that I started not resonating with my friends. It's a continual process too, because you start to game you have a game board. It's a game, it's a play. All of this reality is an experience, and there's certain people that are around you. There's certain members that are on the game board, the pieces on the game board, and some of those people fall off because you're not in alignment with them anymore, because your frequency is raising and theirs isn't. And you know, a lot of times family members, you can't break up with them. I guess you can, but generally they're around, right? So you learn to understand, you start having realizations about different players on that game board. Some are going to go, naturally fade away. New ones are going to come on. But then you start to have empathy for people. Like all these new things start to take over, like your clairsenses, the ability to see and hear and feel. You start to not want to participate in certain gatherings and not go to certain places. Sometimes that might be an event where there's lots of chaos and high energy and noise and those sorts of things. You might just bow out. You start using your discernment and saying, you know what, I can't. I'm not going to be able to go to that this time. Bowing out gracefully, the guides always talk about, but also you might want to go to certain other experiences that really fill you up. Like you're changing those things. You're feeling you're not able to really drink alcohol because it affects your frequency. Certain medicine, I mean, there's so many things,
Yeah.
and you experience them one at a time. We're all at the same time, but generally, you're starting to use your gauge and understand what works for you.
Yeah. Well, excellent examples. So, another question that I have come up commonly is, what's my purpose?
Mm.
And it's when I'm asked that question, it always comes from the spiritual aspect, 'cause
Hmm.
my Akashic guides provide that answer and they come from the spiritual realm.
Mm.
And so a lot of times, not only are we asking, is that question is referring to a person's job or, how they're supposed to serve humanity, but on a different soul purpose. Let's dig a little bit
Hmm.
deeper. What
Hmm.
what do you feel? How do you answer the question when somebody asks, "What's my soul purpose?"
It's coming up a lot now
Yeah.
because people really are feeling not in resonance with a lot of the things in their life. And right now, the guides keep saying that in order to identify and realize and see your soul purpose, there's lots of healing that has to happen. And so these soul coaching sessions that I'm doing with people, like intimate work, that's the first question. I want to know what my soul purpose is. I want to know why I'm here. I want to know what it is I'm supposed to do on the planet. And this deep healing, generational healing, ancestral healing, experiences from this life right now are all coming up to be revealed, to be reviewed, to be healed and released so that people can heighten their vibration so that they're able to hear, to see, to align to what is there already in their future.
Mhm.
And it's the coolest thing. Your purpose is what serves you, what fills you, what makes you feel that frequency that's high and, feels you're passionate about.
Mhm.
That might be serving people. That might be, support. It could be the slightest thing as long as it does all those things for you.
Yeah.
Um, my sole purpose happens to be to help people find theirs, right?
Yeah.
And the people that I'm working with, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So everyone has a unique ability. They have the whole kit and bag of talents and all everything that's them that they brought here to this planet. Maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's working with a certain kind of person, like an older person or a younger person, to help them realize their potential. Maybe it's just to be a light and a bright source of energy that holds space for other people. you know?
Yeah.
So you start to uncover those things as you start to discover who you are,
Mhm.
and kind of look at the experiences you've had in your life,
Yeah.
and how to heal and work from them towards what the future is.
Yeah. I think it's important for people to try not to put a label on what they're supposed
Yeah.
to be. I'm
Hmm.
supposed to be a doctor. I'm supposed to be this, or I'm supposed to be that. But
Right.
when I think that, like what you said, when you start digging down deeper, you find what you're passionate about.
Hmm.
And I think that,
Absolutely.
and what you're passionate about and what brings you happiness and joy literally is what your soul's purpose is.
Absolutely. And let me
Yeah.
tell you something. 10 years ago, like prior to 2020, I thought my purpose was just to be a connector, because I'm very good at connecting with people in my business. I am a creative director. I run a branding marketing firm, communications firm. I have 4 employees. No longer am I really in the trenches of design. I have someone that does that. But up until 2020, I was a creative director. I was meeting with people who were leaving corporate America, launching their own business. My who I was changed as I started expanding my consciousness. Then I was able to be like this creative intuitive that pulled down from where their passion was, where they were like thought painting in this like amazing space. I thought that was my sole purpose. So as you continually go on this path, you're opening up to more and more and more and more. I didn't know I would lead a global spiritual community. All the things that I'm doing now was never on my radar, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. Having a podcast was
Yeah,
never on my
that's what
radar.
everyone says.
I
You're
never
igniting
aspired.
souls.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I never aspired to be in the public eye. I don't, it is like you sit back and you're just like going,
Yeah,
okay, if you guys
yeah,
say so.
I'll do it. Okay, whatever you guys say, it's gonna take me some
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I always laugh about it because it's like, okay, well, that was never my childhood dream.
Yeah, right.
I don't
It
know
wasn't
what's
on my
happening here.
list. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, totally. But
yeah,
now you can look back and say there were certain experiences that gave you the experience of speaking in front of people, that gave you the understanding of technology, whatever it is.
yeah,
Like I was trained a classical pianist my youth. I was going to do music or art. I chose to do art. But I didn't do my music for a very long time, and when I was 37, I started singing. I
yeah,
have a beautiful voice. When I was 40, I bought a guitar and I started playing. Then I was in a little trio, a duo, then a trio, then a big, huge band. And I was in a 26-piece David Bowie tribute band. And I would get scared to go out on stage, but I knew there was another reason. I wasn't awake yet.
yeah,
I was pulled to do it and push myself. I kept knowing I had to push myself. Well, it was because of this and
yeah,
what I'm about to do this fall, which I've never done before. So, you know, that's what I'm talking about, Lisa. It's like the knowings, the nudges, the pulls.
yeah,
Never let fear hold you back. Always push yourself forward. And if you do let fear hold you back, you'll get another chance to do that. So don't let it hold you back again,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Beautiful. Yes, very well said. I'm glad you shared your story because
Thanks.
when, we're in the moment and we're like, okay, well, I want to do this and I've got to push, 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 push. I have
Yeah.
to try to make this happen. I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And what I found, I've been doing this for a really long time. And what I've found is that I can look at where I am today, literally today at this very moment, talking to
Mhm.
you. And I can look back and I can see all the little breadcrumbs. I can
Mhm.
see how the universe stepped in and opened the doors that I had no control over. That these
Yeah.
things just presented themselves in ways that I'm just like going, okay, how'd they find me?
I
I
know,
don't
how did this
know what's
happen?
happening here. And again, it takes us to this point and this place of
Mhm.
understanding that if our soul has a mission and it has the
Mhm.
plan to it's some place if we can kind of step away from our mind and allow things to unfold
Yeah.
and
Yep.
recognize the preciousness of what's happening in every moment and
Yes.
then be able to look back and it's like, oh yeah, now I see.
Yeah.
I didn't need to push. I didn't need to have anxiety. I didn't need to have the fear. I didn't need to do all of these emotions
Yeah.
and the exhausting energy that we are
Yeah.
spending on this stuff when
Yeah.
it's all
It's always
unfolding for us.
Yeah, it's always easier to look in retrospect.
Yeah.
As you were speaking, I could see, remember at Christmas time, they used to string the popcorn?
Yeah.
That's what I could see. It's like one of those, like each one of those experiences is creating this timeline of your life.
Yeah.
Um, I often see, when you do start having the experiences, when you do start meditating and start seeing the lights or start hearing things or start having little visions or pictures or whatever it is, you do want more of them. You
Mm.
do. And oftentimes, I'll sit with my community members. We gather, I'm with them weekly. And they just talk about what's going on. And this one person will be like, well, I sat in and I called in the angels and I astroplaned myself up and I connected this and I did that. And I'm like, we got to break that wide, just let it all go and just be in allowance.
Yeah.
Just sit there in allowance, let your energy permeate out of your body and just feel that resonating. And that's really simply all you need to do is have an open heart and that surrendering
Yeah.
to nothingness. Yeah.
Yeah. Amen, sister.
Yeah. It's hard though, but it's experiential learning. It's the
Yeah.
only way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I mean, you and I'm sure talk about, we have this all the time. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I can connect. And it's always because
Mhm.
I'm trying so hard,
Yeah.
so in my head,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about that later in this
Yeah.
conversation. So I'm going to end that there before I start going down the rabbit hole. Um, but yeah, very well said. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
you mentioned just a little while ago, you mentioned this thing called frequency and
Mhm.
how our frequency doesn't resonate with maybe people that used to be in our life and different
Yeah.
things. So why do you think frequency is important on this journey that we're on right now, and how can we raise our vibration?
Oh, so when you're saying this to me, my arms are filling up. I could feel it go up my neck and up my crown chakra because this is the most important thing the guides want everyone to learn how to do.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be hard. There doesn't have to be a checklist. There doesn't have to be all these rules and things and props and this and that. No. So to break it down for anyone who's brand new to this, you know what it means to have a frequency. It's a big word and maybe you don't understand it, but you've all walked into a room and there's been a person there. You're like, oh my God, I can't stand Susie's vibe. I don't dig her and she gets on my nerves and I'm not going to go near her. Okay. That's her vibration. That's the frequency that her individual person, her soul body resonates at. Anybody who's a musician, anybody who's played music, an instrument, you pluck a string of a guitar, you hammer down on a piano, it has a frequency, it has a sound, it has a color, it has a vibration, which is a hertz. That's how we are. We have a unique frequency, and that frequency pulses out, just like when you pluck on a string on an instrument, it pulses out into the universe. We vibrate that way. So, depending on what we've had happen in our past lives that come into this energy body, which is our operating system, what we've had happen in this life, good or bad, whatever it makes up the whole of our frequency. So, when we start healing, we start looking at some of those things that happened that maybe affected us, that we will call trauma, a situation that left us sad and hurt us. If we are able to review that, witness it, heal it, maybe work with a practitioner, open Akashic records, talk to guides, whatever, or maybe you do it yourself, you are able to heal that part of you that is your story, that is your energy body that exists within you. And it heightens your frequency, it raises your vibration. So, Susie, we talked about in the room has a frequency and you don't resonate with it. There's lots of things happening in our world that have a frequency. You don't resonate with it. And when you start to go on this journey, you start to heighten your frequency. The reason that the guides want us to heighten our frequency is because fear resonates at a certain frequency. Things that happen in our world that are fearful happen in a certain frequency. The guides want everyone to work on their frequency, to elevate their frequency, so that when things that are fearful, when things that are hard to view, to witness, to experience happen, you've been taking care of yourself and you're actually like a strong, you're not a bowling pin that's going to knock over. You are there able to not be consumed with it, but to witness it. And that only comes with working on your soul body and expanding your consciousness. And I hope I was able to explain that in a way that people who are just learning this can understand,
Yeah.
because it is a lot. I get that.
Yeah.
But on a basic level, you know, the guides do this exercise where they ask you to look at a day of your life. And so they start to say, by remember something in your childhood that made you so happy, like the happiest memory you could ever have. That's a high frequency. You feel it in your body. You feel it, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, we're going to mark that as a 10 because it's the best. Now remember something that was really fearful and it scared you as a child. And you remember that feeling. You cower, you recede, you go within. That's a 1. So you can measure everything throughout your day through that scale
Yeah.
and get rid of some of the shit that's low, get rid of the things that are in the middle and start aiming for higher and better.
Yeah.
That's basic. That's the
Yeah.
basic. It. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the way that I see it is exactly how you just explained it. Number one, I use the example of walking in a room all the time because that's a
Yeah.
perfect when somebody walks in and you're like, oh my
Oh
God,
gosh.
that
Or you're
person,
like, oh yay.
I want to just be with that person all the
Hmm.
time. And they just fill this room, fill the room with light. Or else,
Yes.
there's somebody that comes in and you're like going,
You're like, oh Lord,
oh,
going
I'm
over there.
feeling, yeah. But just recognizing that we're responding to it unconsciously, like we're not even sure, why do I feel that way about that person?
Yes.
I'm not really sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
But also being able to recognize that when you go into the fear mode, it makes your body cry. I always look at it, it's like it makes you hump over. It
It
makes you
does.
get that thing in your
Yeah.
stomach.
Hmm.
But then when you're happy, you stand up tall.
Yes,
And
you
so
do.
yeah, you are saying my words. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? We didn't plan it. And
Yeah.
and what happens is you raise your frequency, and this is what happens to me now because I'm vibing so high.
Yeah.
You walk in a room and everyone just wants to know who you are. They want to talk to you, and I don't do anything but just listen.
Yeah.
I love because I love to meet people and I just
Yeah.
listen, and there's something in them that is they're attracted to your frequency,
Yeah.
and that's it, you know. You've been when I'm around violins, I can't help but cry. They make
Yeah.
me cry instantly, instantly. If anyone's had that experience, that's a high frequency. Like it's really cool to be able to measure it in ways that are kind of just like our daily life
Yeah.
for people to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's perfect. Very great examples. Thank you. So,
Welcome.
we're in this crazy time right now when there is a lot of chaos on the earth.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things that are happening between the wars and people battling against each other, one side or another. You're
Yeah.
wrong, you're wrong, all that
Yeah.
stuff that's happening. And I
Hmm.
do have people ask a lot, how do we maneuver through this?
Hmm.
What's your advice in not getting pulled into that
Mm.
that heaviness of what's
Yeah.
going on around us?
Yeah. Great question. Because the heaviness that's going on around us has been created to keep us busy, 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 fighting, 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 disconnected from, the true essence of who you are, from hearing your higher guidance, from the universe, from your guides. And I always say, you have the opportunity to view yourself, hold yourself in your palm of your hand. I always say this. So imagine yourself there, hold yourself in high regard. So when you heighten your frequency, this is one of the things you're able to do more easily. Excuse me, I'm going to politely exit this conversation. Like the guides want you, and I mean everyone. I want everyone to do this. Really look at what you're doing, what's in front of you. Do you really need to comment and post? Do you really need to insert yourself? And that's what raising your vibration does. It allows you to have a moment to to position yourself as the viewer and the witness of what is happening around you, not just engulfing yourself in it immediately. So one of the things you do is just kind of take a moment, pause, feel into it. How does this feel? Does it feel good or bad? It's practice, and you need to practice it because you don't want to just do that. You don't want to be on autopilot anymore. You really don't want to. You don't need to fight all the different colors, different sides, different initiatives, different labels, different, all the things. Can you see them? They're positioned to make you fight. So the guides want you to not do that. They want you to not do that. And the universe wants to be able to sing to you. It's conspiring for you. It wants to give you everything and anything you ever wanted and thought of. All the things that are there for you to connect to that are your future. So by exiting the noise, by not getting engulfed in the fear, you're going to have a higher, better experience and availability to all of that.
Yeah, and in going to that specifically, I can't find my words. There's so much that's going
There's
through
so much I
my
want to
head.
say.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick and choose what I want to say here. But what I have found is that, again, like what we were talking about, how your body reacts to lower
Yeah.
vibration. And
Yeah.
when you find yourself getting tight, or that humped over feeling, or something is tightening up in you,
Yeah.
you know, I don't understand why we just don't understand that we can let it go,
Yeah.
that we don't have to hold on to it. And I don't really know where our conditioning began, in the
Yeah.
sense that if somebody says something negative, that we have to bring attention to it. I
It's
don't know
because of
where.
the no, it's because of the level of frequency that we're vibrating. So whatever level of fear you have inside of you, it triggers it. So that's why you have to work on your frequency. But we
Yeah.
have been conditioned, Lisa. Like we've been conditioned for everything. And
Mhm.
we're stuck in a financial system that stresses us out and gets us indebted for our life. As soon as we're not even graduated from high school, my kids got credit cards in the mail. Like, really? They didn't teach them how to manage money or
Yeah,
best practice for a successful life in that way. So you see what I'm saying?
I do.
The
I
news
do.
pumped out
Yeah,
continually. Now
yeah,
it's on social. So that's the whole point. It's like you want to be able to rise above it and not just be combated with it,
yeah.
because it's a you have to choose to start shifting the dial, to shift it slightly as you
Mhm.
can, as you see it, and you'll see them collectively like the popcorn string making a big change soon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you're interrupting them.
I already see it happening. I think that we've kind of gotten to the point to where there's so much
Ugh,
craziness that's coming
it is.
across the news or in social media, that that I personally find myself, and I know you do too, is that I can't even look at it.
Mm-mm.
I can't even. It makes me, literally makes me sick to my stomach when I see
Yeah,
something
same.
that's negative.
Hmm.
And so it's like, I
Absolutely.
just keep on, keep on, keep on. But I think what's important for our listeners to hear in what you're saying is that you have permission
Yes,
to move on, that you
you
don't have
do.
to sit on it, and you don't have to
Yeah.
take it in. You can draw your own boundaries and
Hmm.
keep on going.
You
And
can. Don't you
yeah,
want to have better? Don't you? I mean, look at where I am and how I'm still working very hard on my soul work and healing myself and all the things. It never ends, right? But like there are people in my family that trigger me so quickly and easily, and when it happens, I'm like, damn. I thought I was like moving forward with that, but you witness it and then you understand it and you process it and you work through it and you give yourself grace and
yeah,
all the things.
yeah,
But you get to actually, you get to, at least you get to,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
the beauty of
Yeah. So perfect segue into the next question.
it.
Let's talk about energy healing.
Yeah.
So, and because, when we're in these situations where we're looking at, Uncle Bob, you're
Yeah.
making me crazy.
Right. You're driving me nuts.
I don't want to be in the same room with you. You're saying things that are totally opposite in the way I believe. And how do I work through this?
Mhm,
And
mhm,
so, and through this process, what we're looking at, in order to become this higher vibrational frequency,
mhm.
we're also looking at how to do it.
Yeah.
What are the tools that we can use?
Oh
So
gosh, so
let's
good. Yeah.
yeah, so let's talk about, number one, what is energy healing? So
Mhm.
in your mind, what is the definition of that?
Yeah, I mean, what is energy healing is that healing of the soul body, I believe. In my circumstance and my experience, it started with Reiki. And I was in a Reiki share and, I felt my heart chakra starting to swell and there was trapped emotions and energy in my heart chakra. That was the first thing that ever happened to me. That opened wide open. I started howling and crying and releasing emotion. And energy healing to me is realigning your chakras. It's clearing energy in your body. I work with my guides continually. They work on me, and we do somatic channeling, and they are working on releasing energy through my body, through my limbs, through my nervous system, realigning my chakras, moving my head back and forth to make my channel easier for them to work in. So it's healing the soul body, I believe. And I mean, there's various different versions of it. I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Yeah.
I'm
But
hoping to.
yeah, I guess what I think kind of what my question is that is it when we talk about energy healing, what does
Yeah.
energy healing actually do? Is it
Mhm.
manipulating the energetic vibrations that are in our system?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
You want to
Yeah.
build on that?
So when you're working on your energy body, um, with me, I'm a vessel, and energy is flowing through me to work on someone else and to heal their energy, to realign their energy, to clear their energy. I'm not an energy healer though. So that's what's happening is I'm moving into that. And the guides keep saying that that's what's next for me. There's going to be they just channeled it this week. There's going to be a realization of what happens in the world to what I've put out in the world. And then suddenly I have this mass consciousness shift, and I'm going to be doing this healing. It's already starting with my soul path coaching clients. So with me, it's a transference of energy between two people that I'm working. One is me, and one is the person I'm working with, and I'm sending energy to help realign, recalibrate, and heal their soul body and their energy body. They're the same thing. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So what types of things do you think that energy healing can help with?
I think that it can most definitely help with the trauma that you have trapped inside of your soul body. Clearing your chakras, helping them realign, because sometimes they get trapped with entities, with energies, with experiences, and they spin. So when they get trapped, they're not all kind of aligning at the same time to allow you to receive that higher guidance that you're supposed to be easily able to get. And that's easy. I mean, there's so many different people that you can work with. You can work with a Reiki practitioner,
Mhm.
a somatic healer. There's different things like gyrotonics. And I'm trying to think about the people that are in my community, the aligned professionals. There's so many different ways to work with different practitioners. I also believe like when you're in the Akashic records and you're working with guides, receiving downloads and information about the past, like that's healing the energy body. There's so many different ways to do it. Um, and that's allowing your frequency to heighten, to raise its vibration,
Mhm.
an understanding about yourself.
Yeah. So how does a person know that they need energy healing? What are
Yeah.
some signs or what
Yeah.
who's a candidate? How do I
Yeah. If you're having blockage, you know, if you're not able to deal with certain situations, certain circumstances, you feel blocked or hindered. Um, like I'm working with a person right now who's going through a divorce, and there's lots of fixed trauma and responses with communication, with pain, manipulation. And so working with her to heal her trauma, to heal her experiences with that person, not just in this life, but I'm sure from what I'm hearing in past lives, you're able to bring the relationship, the understanding of it to the surface, to talk about what it is, to understand why it is,
Mhm,
what it is, and how to move forward with it to help that person not only heal, but approach it in a different way. And it's a process. It's not like something that happens overnight. You have to work with it. How does someone know that they need healing? Because they feel those blocks, and they're on this path of discovery. It presents itself to you. It does. Like most of the time when I was going through this process, I didn't know I needed those things in order for me to move forward. I didn't know it. I
mhm,
didn't know it. There was a circumstance where I was working with this woman who left corporate America to be a Reiki healer, and she led this retreat down in Costa Rica. And I kept hearing I was supposed to go. I kept feeling I was supposed to go. I didn't want to be a Reiki practitioner, but when I went, I learned about energy. I learned about chakras. I learned about myself as an empath. So that helped me understand myself, understand more about what it is I was doing. So there's so many ways and reasons,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Expand your awareness.
Yeah, yeah, and again, we can really take a deep dive into that. So, but,
Yeah.
we're not gonna do that today, but I think you
Yeah.
touched on it beautifully.
Thanks.
So what types of energy work do you specialize in? Reiki and
I don't really do Reiki. What I'm doing now is tapping right into, so the work that I do is when people want to work with me in our mastermind group, which is in a group setting, or our soul path coaching, I connect directly to their guides and I connect to the Great Council of Light who I work with. And I ask them for a message of the highest and best for this person, what they need right now. And then I get this flood of information and it comes out and I automatic write. And I mean, I'm having experiences with working with a woman right now who had an extremely traumatic childhood, which was associated with her mother. All that information comes down. They tell me it all. And while I'm working, I had these beings that were from her mother's lineage come who created her experience to the mother, which affected the child. And so the Great Council of Light said immediately, you need to leave. You are not welcome here and you will not affect this work. It's hard to put a label on what it is that I'm doing, but I'm healing this woman, her womb. I'm healing the past life trauma that she had, this life trauma that she had. And they said that she is going to bring new life into the world. So I've channeled a meditation from them called the womb activation meditation. So I believe I channel it for her and many, many, many other women, all ages. And so this woman's working with this. And then we actually have a session tonight. And they told me I'm going to be working with her on her. And I did a little mini session that I didn't ask to do last evening on myself. They showed me what I'm going to be doing with her. So I'm going to be doing somatic channeling, which is healing in her body with them. So I'm channeling them. Like it's the coolest thing. So yeah. So report back and we'll talk about more about what I'm learning.
well, when you're talking about going in that deep and you're seeing that, like um, my mother's energy, my mother's patterns, get embedded within my system. But
Yeah.
let's talk about past lives.
Yeah.
So maybe not just this family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immediate family,
Yeah.
but how do the past lives come in and affect us?
Yeah. Because you come multiple times, not only to this plane of existence in this three-dimensional reality of Earth, there's other areas just like this that you come to learn through experience, to expand your consciousness. And so in each one of those iterations of yourself, you come down and you ask to learn specific lessons. You ask with your soul family to serve them or them to serve you, however and whomever is coming. And you get to have these experiences to learn ultimately about love. And so that energy body that I talk about, which is your system, which fills this meat suit up and makes it operate, that comes through to each version of yourself in your lifetimes. And it comes through, with the trauma from the life that you've lived before and the pain and the lessons and all the things, the skills, all your unique blueprint. It comes back again. So me as an artist and a musician and I knew that I was an opera singer in past lives. I have a really powerful voice. I didn't find it in this life until I was 37. And I have a tremendous capacity to hold air and to hold notes. And it's part of this healing that I'm doing. But I came back, I've witnessed and done work with on this journey that I've been talking about with shamans, and I've gone and done past life regressions. I've seen myself, I've seen my father, and he and I doing this dance before, except there was sexual abuse, not just alcohol in those lives. In this life, he came back better than he had, but he still died of alcoholism in this life, right? And he wanted to learn some of those things, and what he brought to me was the spark of my spiritual awakening journey. Like we all come here to do different things. um so this past life of he and I, it was so meaningful for this life right here and now, you
Mhm.
know and it's incredible. It really is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's shift into our psychic abilities.
Mhm.
And the clairs. So when somebody, I mean, a lot of people want to be able to connect to their guides and receive informations, whether it's channeling or mediumship or just psychic abilities.
Mhm.
So let's break down, and I'm sure that people understand the clairs, but I really do want you to break them
Yeah.
down for us.
Sure. Yeah. So the ability to sense, that's that cognitive, the knowing, the feeling, the nudges, the hey, you should move in this direction and not that. It's that knowing part of it. The ability to see, which is that clairvoyance. And I have that. I'm able to see visions of the future. I'm able to have visions when I'm sleeping, see things in front of my eyes in my dream state, in my regular state. It's pretty cool. That clairaudience is the ability to hear. So I hear things all the time. They talk to me constantly. You might be in a state of meditation and you might hear the name of something, or you might just hear something that's that. It's so cool. Write it down, honor it.
Yeah.
And it takes practice because you're like, did I say that or did I hear that? You just have to allow, just sit in that space of allowing. Sometimes I smell things. I'll smell my father's canoe cologne. I'll smell it. I'll smell cigarette smoke, when I'm in a room by myself and there's no one smoking cigarettes. Um, all there's, I don't even know if I covered them all, but it's the ability to hear, to see, to sense, to smell. Um, and they are, the gifts that we have inside of us. We have that. They're our tools. We're supposed to lean on them and use them and allow them and let them express themselves and honor them and take chances with them. We have our pineal gland inside of our head, which I just did a meditation for that, which is so profound. It's an antenna with crystals. It's a receiver.
Mhm.
And we have been conditioned to not even know that it's there, number one. Number two, it's calcified from the ways that we live. And number three, it's it's powerful, right? We've been dumbed down to not have our clairs enlightened, to not have our pineal gland working, to not know our chakras. We have the ability to be telepathic, to talk without using our mouths and our speech. And like these are all the things that how awesome are we, right? That we were created this way. And how awesome is it that we can remember that this
Mhm.
is who we are.
Yeah.
Cool.
So how do we know, or how can we tell what are the telltale signs of what we're stronger, in which Claire is
Cool.
more
Yeah,
aligned with who I am?
that's really cool. I think that with me being the artist, I naturally am able to create pictures and see things and identify and connect to that more easily. It's whatever you feel that you feel the pull towards the most. So if you have lots of dreams and you get woken up in the night and you see things, scribble them down, write them down, take a voice note of them. That's what I do continually.
Mhm.
If you hear things the most, if you hear things in meditation, if you hear things when you're walking or in you could even be playing an instrument or painting or something. If you hear things, then that's really your dominant Claire. If you sense things, you have a knowing, you just know that you're supposed to go to that party, and then you wind up meeting the person who's going to offer you a job or whatever it is. You got to start recognizing that that's what's happening.
Mhm.
That's your dominant sense. So you might have more than one of them. You might have all of them. You might have one of them. Like you don't know.
Mhm.
But I always say, like on this journey, you're really just in a discovery phase and you're in allowance to let what's going to be.
Yeah.
And don't judge it. Explore it. Be creative. Be fun with it. The guides want you to be in a childlike state of wonderment and amazement.
Mhm.
That's really truly who we're supposed to be all 100% of the time. But we get bogged down with calendars and this and that and all the things.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
yeah, just play. Just
Yeah.
play.
So a common question that I have is, people want to know what their blockage is. That
Mhm.
they can't figure it out. That try to meditate and they can't get their message. So how do you guide somebody that is having that
Yeah.
situation?
I feel like as soon as we put attachments on things and we expect an outcome, that we're blocking it. That's an immediate block. So we want to, number one, not do that. Our voice, our words, our power. So if we're speaking about blocks, we're speaking about, I don't think that I can do this. I don't understand why this isn't working. I mean, you're putting energy into the, I don't, I can't, I won't, I'm not sure. It's not happening. It's like you're creating more and more and more of that. So immediately stop with that. Do what I just said and get into that space of discovery. Just release all expectations. Just release all expectations and allow,
Yeah.
and then start noticing your behavior. Start being the witness of your day. Do that measurement scale. Go rewind and listen to it again. Because if you're in a space of control and constriction, of non allowance, of attachments, of all these things around whatever, if you're doing it all day long with everything, that's one thing. If you're doing it with the same situational thing all the time, witness that, understand that you're doing it, and just start by letting that go, and then that will let more guidance, and that will let more opportunity, and that will be a release, an immediate release. We're
Yeah. Yeah.
putting the brakes on.
Yeah. I think that when we're trying too hard is the biggest blockage.
It is.
And it
And
comes to,
yeah,
I'm supposed to be like so and so. Why
yeah,
she can do it? Why can't I do it? This is
yeah,
how
because
I'm
you're not
supposed to
her.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
moment you stop and look at the music on the page, you're blocking it.
yeah,
You're not in a flow. You're not in allowance.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I can tell you one thing really quickly, and it just popped into my head. If you know Abraham Hicks and you know Esther, who channels him, she does something called a gratitude rampage, a rampage of gratitude. That's an immediate way to heighten your frequency and just let it go. So if you're experiencing a situation, a thing that you're constantly like this with, put on music that you love, get in the middle of your living room, dance like nobody's watching you, just fricking let it go and get into allowance. It's a reset. It's a reset. Or go find Esther Hicks gratitude rampage or something like that,
Yeah.
and do that.
I like it. I like
Great
it.
tool.
Yeah. Let's dance like nobody's watching.
I know, I love that.
Yeah. So let's talk about you for a minute. Okay. So you channel the Great Council of Light.
Mhm.
So can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how
Yeah,
that came about for you?
yeah. So in 2020, actually in 2019, one of the things that I knew I was gonna do, and had a clear knowing immediately when I saw this movie about it and this man and all of the things, I just said, "I know I'm going there, and I know I'm doing that," and it was a plant medicine. I had never done anything like that before. I really wasn't into drugs or, recreationally, or even doing it on a spiritual practice, not even cacao or mushrooms or anything. But I knew I was going to this place. I didn't know how I was going to go. I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know how I was going to go to another country and do a class one hallucinogenic. I knew I was going. Clair senses. And what happened was I met this person. I did trade with them for work. I had to say yes. They asked. They asked me to do something else. I had to say yes because they asked. And it put me in alignment to being asked to go to the place that I knew I was going to. They were shutting it down. Normally there's 100 people there trying to, release addiction and trauma and all kinds of things. So, what's associated with that is vibrations and energies and entities. But spirit wanted me so much to do what I'm doing now that they closed it down. They opened it up to these 40 high conscious people who were already leading and serving and creating. And I got to go with them. I had to say yes. I had to say yes. The check came in from my return. That was exactly what I needed to go. I had to say yes. I mean, I had to say yes. So I went and I did ayahuasca. And it was a week-long journey that helped me do all the things we just talked about. I healed past life trauma. I witnessed it. I reviewed it. I released it. I healed it. I looked at things of this life. I had realizations about my father, about my mother, all these things. It was 4 days of continually working on this. By the time I left there, my vibration rose. My frequency was heightened. I came home right before COVID, and I was still in this frequency of, like, heightened awareness. How am I going to work and do 9 to 5 in this concrete jungle? Like, where do I belong? And I heard that I'm supposed to sit and ask. So I sat, open heart, in my living room every morning while the world was shut down. And I said, I'm here. I want to explore what it is that's next. And I had had the throat opening, I had had the heart opening prior to that. So I knew there was more. I was led to rhythmia. I knew there was more. I started working with these entities. They were this collective of divine feminine, high vibrational, like beautiful mother energy. They would come in buoyant, effervescent. And whenever they would come in, I knew I was doing more past life healing. And I would have to experience the healing of, I'd have to experience the death, the healing, and then the emotion over and over and over and over and over and over again for months. I got to a point where I was bringing in light language, and I started having experiences with all these different kinds of beings that were in different frequencies. And I would experience their light language. I would experience how they felt, and they would talk through me. It was really cool. It was not scary, but I had to experience lower dimensional beings, all different kinds of things to understand who the Great Council of Light is, which is a collective divine group of high vibrational angelic beings. So they started trying to talk and work with me and working through my throat. And I was just listening a couple of weeks ago to a recording, because I recorded all of it. And they were like, we are, we are, like they were trying to get through to say their catchphrase, which is, we are here, we are here. Yes, indeed, we are here. And, you know, and it shows me the baby steps. It shows me how hard and diligent I was. It showed me the courage that I had. It showed me, you know, the commitment that I had. It showed me all of the things. That's the popcorn string. And, through working with them continually and showing up, I I started hearing them. I started receiving guidance from them. I started receiving visions from them. I started channeling. I started downloading. And they told me to create Spirit Calling in the middle of the night in 2020. And I got up and I wrote it down. The next morning, I bought the domain. And then over the course of the year, I kept hearing, you're to create a community, you're to create a portal, you're to create this. And I'm like, I don't have time to do that. I just merged an 18-year-old business into a new business with my partner, who was my client. I'm doing this. They brought someone in to help me, and she was an angel that came in for like 8, 10 months. And I leveraged my house. We didn't talk about this, but I lost everything in the recession. The only thing I had was this new little house that was accruing equity. And the guides told me to take the equity out and build the portal. It was so scary for me because it's all I had, but I did it. And I built this community. And then after a year, they showed me these wings, the logo. Like I knew it was all the same thing. It launched in January of 2024. Well, by the way, they told me, they gave me a vision of when to sell the house so that I could replenish my loss. Like they showed me, they tell me, and I do. I'm done pussyfooting around. Like I
Yeah.
do what they tell me to do. That's the knowing. That's the,
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
And the trust as well.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just there.
Yeah.
So it's a slow roll, and it happens through doing it.
Yeah.
And so the council, they create in my community, I channel a message monthly. I'm channeling the August one, and it's heavy. And I keep trying to channel a new one. I keep getting the same thing. So I'm going to have to just post it. But I channel a message of support, love, and guidance every month for the community. It's a beautiful place. But their lessons are to help empower you,
Yeah.
to help you understand why you're here, to help you understand how to heighten your frequency, and to understand love.
Mhm.
And they are so loving. They just want to help us get through our 3D day, our reality that we live in, with ease and grace and understanding. They want to help us. So that's who they are.
Good.
And I'm honored to be what I've been told is a part of them. And I have to have a hard time saying it. And I'm just starting to own it because they want me to. There's an aspect of me that they said yesterday, I channeled a message, you were commissioned with us and you to come here to do this now. Commissioned, you know? I'm like, okay. So it's my job and I have to own it. So, I mean, what the hell? I mean, I'm doing it. So I just have to embody it.
Yeah. Well, I understand that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, thank you for all of your information.
You're welcome.
Absolutely beautiful and so
It's my
helpful. Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So how do people find you?
Yes, thank you. I have a beautiful community of people who are discovering, who are searching, who are seeking, who are supporting and loving, and they're all the same. No one judges you, and it's called Spirit Calling. So you can find me there and everyone there at spirit-calling.com. And then I have my community page, my Instagram, my YouTube are Spirit Calling Pamela. And one of the things I'm really excited right now about is this mastermind that I'm holding monthly. It's a container where people get to sit with the Great Council of Light monthly for 2 hours, and we channel, and they are sharing healing, man, and energy. It's really profound work. So that's on the website. And I just channeled a pineal gland meditation that blows your mind. It's a decalcification and an activation meditation, and people are having amazing experiences. That's there. And for anyone, any age, women who are looking to heal their womb, for fertility, for trauma healing, for everything, everyone, people are having healings at every age. It's amazing. They're all on my website. And I'll be at the San Diego Transcendence Retreat with Bashar and Ann Tucker and Aaron and like all these cool people. Um, September 27th and 28th, and you get to hang out with us. There's a dinner cruise, so you can check that out.
Oh, fun.
San Diego Transcendence Retreat.com. There's a Spirit Calling discount. Please come because it's so cool. I can't wait to meet people. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fabulous. So, and if you guys didn't catch the website, did you say the website name?
Yes. Spirit-calling.com.
Okay. So, and if you guys, listeners, didn't get that, it will be in the video description. So just jump over to the video description, scroll down to the bottom, and that's where you'll find her information.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pamela, gosh, what a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
Thank you
awesome,
so much
Lisa.
for being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it also.
Thank you. And for you guys, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.